Hey y'all, this is Sharon, the bag lady, back for part 2 of the video on applying for the Building Blocks DC mini grant. So first things first, I do realize that the entire video did not upload to Instagram. So I'm moving all of our content to YouTube. And I'll have all of the links in the description, a link in the stories, you will definitely be able to find links to our YouTube channel, which will have the complete video of part 1 and part 2. This is actually part 2 right now. We are going to talk about a bunch of things, but before we even get into this content, I want to let everybody know that this is for informational purposes only. I have no insider information. I am not cousins with anybody. This is just based on our success as grantees. We have been awarded 3 consecutive grants from the Building Blocks DC. So we just want to come on here, share the information. Like I said, I know a lot of you are applying or going to apply. So we just want to make sure this information is out there. And this is nothing secret. Everything that I'm telling you for the most part is either in the notice of funding. And again, that is all of the information about the grant, what they're looking for. Those are the instructions. That's the information that is critical for you to read. It is important that you read the notice of funding. So the next thing I want to talk about is where you can find the application. The application is on the Progressive Life Center's website, PLC. If you Google them, you'll be able to find it. On their website, if you go to their main menu, under their About, there is a menu option for Notice of Funding, and then you will see the Building Blocks DC application. Another important bit of information is the deadline. The deadline is November 4th. No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. November 2nd. The deadline is November 2nd at 4 p.m. The deadline is November 2nd at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Do not send the application after that. They will not accept your application. Typically, grant competitions, it's a real thing. It's a serious thing. They have to abide by the rules. So in most cases, a funder will not accept your application late. So do not procrastinate. If you haven't began working on the application, it's definitely something that you want to open it up, begin reading, begin thinking about what is it that you're going to do and how you're going to present that information. So the next thing I just want to talk about are the key players. Again, I'm not quite sure of the relationship, but I know the Progressive Life Center is one key player. The Office of Gun Violence Prevention is another key player. I believe the Building Blocks program lives in the Office of Gun Violence Prevention, OGVP. And then the Department of Youth and Rehabilitative Services is also a partner. And I believe there's a financial relationship there. And again, this is just my opinion based on what I've read. But I'm almost certain these are the key players because guess what? They're listed in the notice of funding. So the next thing I just want to talk about is what a grant is. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with grants, what they are, but a grant is just a general term for money that's given to an organization, or in this case, an organization or individual, and they are not expected to be repaid. However, to receive the grant, you must go through an application and evaluation process. So while the grants are not required to be paid back, they're not free money. You have to do what you said you were going to do. You have to spend your money responsibly. And the things that you say you're going to do, they are approved once you are awarded your application. That is the funder saying, you can do this. And your obligation is to do that. And in this case, The Progressive Life Center requires all grantees to do something called reconcile, and that's basically show all of your receipts in the format requested based on the things that they said that you could spend the money on. Now, if you spend the money on things that you should not, it's very likely that you're going to have to repay that money. So the next thing I want to talk about, and this is something I mentioned in the first video just a little bit, but it's really important. It's really important that you understand the grant requirements. And what do I mean by the grant requirements? Those are the things that the funder is saying that you must do, and all of those things are they are listed in the notice of funding. If you have any confusion about that, in most cases, funders have opportunities for potential grantees to all come together, usually on a call called technical assistance, where you can ask questions. Hey, what are the requirements? Another thing that you're gonna want to be clear on is the key interests. What is this funder trying to achieve with this money? What are the focus areas? What are the categories that they want us to work within? For Building Blocks DC, there are 3 categories: community wealth, community revitalization, and community healing. Go to the notice of funding and look at those 3 areas. And it's very important that you build your work around those 3 areas. This is the funder saying, this is what we're interested in. If you propose something that is way outside of that, it's highly likely that your application may not get funded. And again, I am just coming on here as someone who, again, knows a little bit about grant management, grant writing, and also has competed successfully in this competition. The next thing I want to talk about is, as you're writing your application, don't be generic. Don't just copy and paste what you wrote for that last application and just plop it into this. Usually grant reviewers are sophisticated. They can tell when something looks like it's not customized to that particular notice of funding. So really be specific about what you're going to do, and try not to just copy and paste information from one grant application to the next. And also in your application, and I know a lot of you, because I follow most of you on Instagram, y'all are out here doing amazing work. This is the time to pat yourself on the back. Talk about the work you're doing. Talk about the impact you're making. Like, sell your program. Like, now is the time to do it. And that's really, really, really important. So at this point, I've been talking for about 8 minutes. So I'm going to bring this particular video to a close. I hope that this information was useful. If you do have questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to continue this series up until this application is due, just to kind of help you all out as much as humanly possible. I'm hoping my next video, within the next 1 or 2 days, we can open up the application and really get into some of the questions. Some of these questions on this application are kind of new, especially if you've never applied for the program, or if you've never been awarded the $15,000 grant. And if you don't know, you can receive either $5K if you are a new grantee, or $15 if you are a previous grantee that has been, successful in your work. And of course, the funder defines what that success is. So like I'm saying, in my next video, let's look at the applications. If you have particular questions that, you're like, what does this mean? What recommendations do you have? Like, how should I approach this? I'm happy to answer them. So let me know, drop your thoughts, your feedback in the comments. And again, I'm happy to come back on and to talk to you all about this process, about this application. I know everyone's out here doing amazing work, And a part of the purpose of the bag is to ensure that we all win. So thank you all for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And please let me know how I can further support your goals. Like, you know, that's what I'm here for. So good night.